Greece says it may finally have a deal with its creditors, but its creditors aren't so sure. Feels like we've been down this road before, and we'll go down it again. Ivand Eland, director of the Center on Peace and Liberty at the Independent Institute, joins us now on the Arise Xchange line. Ivand, welcome back to Arise Xchange, as always.
Thanks, Andrew.
Okay, so tell us what we know about this deal. The Greek Prime Minister said Greece will pay IMF. What is your reaction?
Well, I think, this is another one of these deals that's sort of a kick the can down the road, face-saving sort of approach to things. And I think both sides have an incentive because they have such opposite positions. The Greek government was saying, hey, the international creditors, when I got elected and even before it got elected, saying the international creditors are oppressing Greece. And, of course, the international organizations that are lending money to Greece are saying, hey, you got to pay up. We had this deal, and now that they want to change it. And so both sides have to save face, but they don't want the international lenders don't want Greece to default because they figured the domino effect in the system, which I think is really overstated. But I think even though Greece hasn't acted very responsibly, I think these types of agreements just put off the inevitable, really.
So, yeah, I was going to ask you that. So the first installment is due June 5th. If Greece doesn't make it, it is technically in default. Do you think it's going to make that installment payment? But then the larger question is how much longer can, as you say, they go kicking the can down the road? How long is the road?
I almost think they're going to have to write off some of the debt at some point because Greece is just not going to be able to handle all this. And I'm afraid, there may be some ripple effect, but I think, the international system recovers from things like this. And I think it's better for countries to, if they've been irresponsible, to have to admit it at some point. I think, sometimes tough love is good. And I think, Greece might be better off if it owned up to this, and then the EU might be better off as well. But, the EU is so concerned with the currency that it's, this effect on the currency area, and the EU in general. I think that they're really going all out to at least give the Prime Minister of Greece a face-saving way. But you have to keep doing this, and it doesn't really solve the underlying problems that Greece has.
What about the Greece political environment right now? Recent polls have seemed to suggest that the public has turned against this Greek government, but on the same side, they do not want austerity back.
Right. Well, the problem to get elected, they had to go all out against austerity. But of course, the reality is that Greece just can't walk away totally from its obligations. And so the problem is that the government has had such great expectations among the Greek people that, hey, they're going to fight these oppressors. People like voters in any country, not just Greece, but they vote on the basis of what they want to hear, and politicians are more than happy to tell them that. And of course, Greece has responsibility in most of this, and I think that the government. When it was running, before it was the government, made all these promises, and it's very hard to keep that promise. And they didn't tell the Greeks that, hey, you have acted irresponsibly, and austerity is here to stay in one form or another, or, you're going to have to admit default.
Yeah, it seems like they don't have a whole lot of choice here, that maybe they'll get some part of the debt written off and maybe a Grexit. It'll be interesting to see what exactly happens.
Well, I think that's what may happen, yes.
All right, Ivand Eland, director of the Center on Peace and Liberty at the Independent Institute. As always, thank you.